Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you are new. Apologies must be said for how long it's taken me to get a new video up. I wouldn't count the Infinity War one because that was just a bit of silly. How long has it been? Hang on, I need to actually check this now. When was the last time I actually got around to editing a video? 2 months ago. And add to that theme of my poor time management skills and never having time to do anything, this video was filmed in November 2017, so it's been over 6 months since I actually recorded this. I do have a reason for it though. Halfway through this video, I don't know if I did it or like what happened, but my camera switched to like a really like crappy small grainy SD mode instead of HD, and I didn't realize until I'd finished recording, and I got really angry about it and then kind of just like threw it in a folder and never wanted to look at it again. However, I think it's still going to be useful to sort of like show you guys what I did with this experiment. I'll just try and sort of make the end bit a little bit more sped up so you don't have to look at the horrible graininess for too long. So this experiment was to see if I could try and make Copic markers look like paint, like acrylic or oil paint, you know, that kind of like really cool splotchy portraiture people do that I can't do with paint, so God knows why I tried to do it with markers. I really wanted to see if that was something that I could do just as a challenge. So I started out with a sheet of Expressit blending card. This is made specifically for markers and it holds them really, really nicely. I don't know why I actually used this paper because the second thing I did was cover it in acrylic paint. So I pretty much ruined it. The reason I covered it in, I just did like a layer, a very, very fine layer of white acrylic paint, is actually to stop it from sucking in the markers so nicely. What I wanted it to do was kind of let them sit on the surface a little bit and kind of give that sort of, you know, painterly effect where you can see the strokes that I've made. So I let that acrylic paint layer dry completely and then sketched on top just the basic sketch outlines of what I was going to draw, and then I got colouring. So the way I went about trying to replicate brush strokes and sort of paint splotches with the markers was by choosing several different colours that are all similar-ish, but range from, you know, being in the pinks through to browns, yellows, and even sort of greens and blues. I actually ended up having to buy some extra colours just for this because they're not colours I would normally use, and I'm putting them down just in little splotches and sort of, you know, squares and sort of trying to make them look like a brush stroke. Normally when I'm colouring skin tone, I would pick several different skin tone colours because of course your skin isn't one singular colour, but I would be sort of putting down maybe 2 or 3 skin tones and blending them together quite nicely, and then I would be going in on top with my shadow colours, so my blues, greens and purples, and I'd be then blending those in on top to create that sort of shadow and 3D effect. With this one, because I'm not blending at all and I'm trying to in fact make it look quite mottly, I had to rethink how I go about doing that, and it was actually quite difficult for my brain to sort of comprehend how to put this together in a different way. So I was having to think in just colours rather than colours that I'm going to blend together to create the colour that I want. As you can see, my theory of just adding colours where they need to be instead of layering them like I normally would didn't work too well. I didn't really judge too well how dark I needed to make some of the shadows, so I'm now going in over the top, as you can see, with the darker purple, just adding a little bit more shading here and there just to make things pop. And just generally this whole process is just me haphazardly adding colours again and again and again. Not really blending them, just in little patches here and there, and hoping eventually that she looks less like she has leprosy and more like she has a proper skin tone. And now you can see where the camera's switched over to SD instead of HD. I'm so sorry about the quality, guys. Okay, now I'm going in with some Copic multi-liners. These are just fine liners in different colours. They are Copic proof, which means that they're not going to get smudged when I go over them with Copic. I decided to use these instead of going along the same lines as the sort of painterly, splotchily effect, just to add a little bit of contrast between the two. I was feeling like the messiness of the splotchy paint strokes was starting to become one big sort of mess, and it just needed some sort of contrast to bring it all together. So now I sort of have a vague idea of what seems to be working, because of course, as with everything I seem to do, I have no idea what I'm doing and I'm just experimenting. I'm now going to go in and implement what I now know works to the other parts of her face and her body. So I literally just couldn't comprehend how to do the hair in the same way I'd done the skin tone with just adding patches. So I'm kind of cheating in that I'm doing it the way I might normally do it, where I add a base color and then I start adding colors, shading and highlights on top. But I'm trying to bring it together to make it look in that sort of painterly style as well. Unfortunately, it's a little bit difficult to see what I'm actually doing with the background with the quality of the camera. But what I am doing is I'm just picking out like the lightest sort of green grey, blue grey, pink grey and purple greys that I have, and I'm going in and just cross hatching those 4 colours over and over again, just to kind of give the effect of that sort of splotchy background that a lot of oil painters do. I don't think it actually worked as well as I would have liked it to, but at least it sort of matches the rest of the artwork. So now I'm going to go in on top of all of that with the Copic Opaque White. It's almost like a thick paint, or I would even say it's almost like a acrylic paint cross whiteout, or I don't know, a correcting fluid I think is what it's called in other countries. So I'm going to water that down a little bit because it's just a little bit too thick for what I want to do with it, and then I'm going to splatter it everywhere, because if you've seen any of my artwork previously, you'll know that I'm obsessed with sort of that splatter effect, and I put it pretty much in every single artwork. And then I'm going to go in with the opaque white but not water it down, and I'm just going to add highlights to the skin and the face just to make everything pop. And going along that same line of highlights, I'm also going to add some smaller, daintier highlights with my Pentel Hybrid Gel Grip DX pen. It's basically just a white gel pen. And I thought that was it. As you can see, I stamped it with my signature stamp, but then I noticed that there were just some bits that I wanted to make just a little bit darker, just to sort of give that extra contrast. So I went in with another multi-liner in lavender, which is sort of a similar purple to what I'm actually signing with, and also the dark purples I was using for shadows, and I'm just adding just a little bit extra so you can really see a contrast between the light and the dark in this artwork. So before we finish, I just wanted to give you one final proper close-up of what the texture of this artwork looks like, just so you can really see sort of the real splotchiness and hopefully what kind of looks like possibly paint strokes that I attempted to get with the markers. And that's actually it for this one. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one, and you might want to try some experiments like this of your own. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments. And if you want to see any more of my artwork, you can find them in the links down below to all of my social medias. I update those daily, and I'm just much more active over there. If you like this one, please give it a thumbs up so I know to do more stuff like this. If you like this video and you want to check out more of my stuff, feel free. And if you like that, I'd love it if you want to subscribe. And of course, don't forget to press the bell icon, because these days YouTube makes it really difficult for you to actually see when people upload videos. And as I said at the start of this one, I'm really bad at uploading on a regular basis. And I guess I will leave it there. Have a good day, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!